I have around 15 years of experience in Salesforce. So I was thinking to create a Salesforce integration series, right? And in the beginning of that integration series, I was just thinking to discuss O 2.0 flows and why we use those, and what all are the flows, and will implement those flows using Postman or any other client, and will use Salesforce as a server, right? So as an introduction of O 2.0 flow, right? I'm just recording this session one, and going forward, if you guys will like this session, just put a comment. And if you want more videos on O 2.0, different flows like web server, JWT, client credential, right, SAML assertion, or any different flows or any other topic that you want, we'll discuss in this series each and everything about integration, name credential, auth flows, everything, JSON class, REST, SOAP, right, integration design patterns, everything related to integration, right? So let's start with the course, right? In the first thing, we will discuss what we will cover today. So first thing that we will cover is what is OAuth 2.0, why it exists. I mean, why we actually need OAuth 2.0, why we can't use a username and password and security token in order to log in the server resource. And the secondly, I will discuss about a real life example related to a banking and finance app, right? In third point, we'll discuss what is authentication with authorization, right? And there are some core component of auth that those we will discuss, right? Then we will discuss access token with refresh token. What is the difference between these two, and you know why we need access token and refresh token, right? Why Salesforce use auth? We'll also discuss that, and we'll discuss a simple auth flow step by step. I mean, how we generally go from a client app to access the server resources, right? And then there are some interview questions that I will discuss in the end. Those will help you to prepare, right? So let's go to our first topic. What is O 2.0? So basically, O 2.0 is an authorization framework, right? That lets an application access user data on another service. So in integration, one will act as a client, and the second one will act as a server, right? So if you want a data access from server into the client, then you can use O 2.0 as an authorization framework in order to log in and authorize the server resources for the client, right? And it is without ever seeing or storing your username and password. So currently, without auth, what you do? You can use your username and password in order to make a login in the server, but that can cause some security limitations. Like you have to store your password uh, in the client side, and if your client app will hack, then your password will be exposed. So we should not. We should not store or hard code your password on client side. So that is why auth 2.0 or auth open authentication will come in the picture, and by using that you can get a short lived access token, right? Short lived means like it can last from 15 minutes to 2 hours. You can customize its timeout, right? So there are some features. It's about granting limited access, not sharing credential that we have discussed. You don't have to share your username and password. Still, you will get access of server resources, right? If the user approves, the app never sees the actual password, as we are not sharing the password, not storing it to anywhere. So user will not be able to see your password. Access can be scooped, specific permission, and time limited. So we have connected apps, so you can manage your access based on auth scope, right? So access can be scoped and with a specific permission, and as access token is a short-lived token, so it can have a time limitation. Access can be revoked at any time independently. So whenever you want, you can revoke the access. So if you think like your application or your data is being compromised, you can revoke the access at any time as a security measure, right? So that's the important thing. And I'm just giving an example in terms of a wallet key analogy. A wallet key start your car and drives it, but can't open the trunk and glove box, right? All tokens work the same way, limited scoped access without handing over your master key or password, right? Next thing is a real life example. So, you want to use a budgeting app to track spending across your bank account. So let's say in India, if you are asking for a loan, so what they do is they generally see your credit score. Our credit score is basically dependent on your all the bank account you have in India, right? Your credit cards and your credit history and everything. But those apps need your data access in order to create a credit score. So similarly, a budgeting app uh, need your bank account access to track spending, right? But you won't give your bank account password. That's a simple thing. So how will they get your transaction access, right? So budgeting app asks connect to your bank. They will ask you to connect to your bank. They will redirect you on your bank screen, right? Right, you are sent to on your bank screen login page. Now you are out of the app, right? So you are not storing or giving your password to the bank app. You are now your actual bank org, right? Or app, right? You approve allow read only access to your balance, and a token will be issued to get the access of your transaction, and it will be a read only access, right? And you can manage it is read only or added access you want to provide, right? So key insight of this, the budgeting app never sees your bank password. It only receives a token with limited revocable permission. This is the exact same pattern Salesforce use for every external integration, right? So basically the whole concept is about auth is you won't share or store your username and password anywhere, right? Your password will stay with you, right? There will be a short-lived access token shared, and by using that access token you can give the data access, and that can also be controlled by you, right? That's the purpose of open authentication. So now the authentication and authorization, what they are. Authentication is, I mean, in a simple term, authentication means who actually it verifies your identity. It happens via username and password, biometrics, single sign-on, etc. And if it is asking a question, who are you, then the answer should be, is this really you? I mean, whoever is trying to log in should have the correct username and password or correct biometric, or if it is coming from an identity provider as an SSO, that should also be verified using a certificate or a SAML, right? Example, logging into Salesforce with your username and password means you are authenticating into Salesforce, and Salesforce is verifying your username and password and allowing you to log in, right? So authentication can be done using username and password. If you are using access token, that will also be an authentication. So access tokens should be verified by the application, right? Authorization, what can you do, right? So means let's say if you are logged in Salesforce, what all are the object field, everything you can access, right? What all are the records for different object you can access. So it means like grant specific permission, and access happens after authentication, so you can only be able to access the data after logged in that application, right? And it can be scoped by your connected app and profile permissions, right? So basically answer is, what are you allowed to access? So whatever the access you will get using in a connected app or using the integration profile, you will be able to access those things, right? So that is authorization. So simple term, authentication will validate who you are. Authorization will give you the access, what you can do with that application. Now, there are four auth components that we need to know. One is resource owner. Resource owner is the user right by which you will um, integrate your client to server, right? And all the permission we have with the user, right, that you can access. So user will have permission on for the resources, and you can access those resources via that user, right? Then there is a client app. So if you are Integrating your Java web service to Salesforce, then Java will be your client app and Salesforce will be your server, right? Authorization server, that will be the gatekeeper that verifies if the user is actually um, um, the right person to log in and right access to have, right? So basically, in terms of Salesforce, you have login.salesforce.com, task.salesforce.com, and your my domain can be used to issue the token, right? Resource server, the data. So in, let's say if your server is Salesforce, then account, contact, all these are will be called as resource server, right? Now, access token with refresh token. So every time you are trying to use any different auth flows, in the end you will get these two things, access token and refresh token. So every time you will try to use or try to get the data from your server, you will use access token to get the API access, right, or to get in. So as I mentioned in this PPT here, used on every API request to prove access. So basically, authentication will only be happen if your access token is correct. So by using your access token, you can get the authentication, right? It has a short lifespan, like it can last 15 minutes to 2 hours, or even you can set that time, right? Sent in the authentication header, sorry, authorization header as a bearer token. So that we will discuss when we will discuss REST request, right? If leaked, the damage window is small. I mean, we know like it has a short lifespan. So if somebody has hacked your application, then access token will expire in 15 minutes. Let's assume the your application just only for 15 minutes, right? So and now refresh token. So refresh token is basically, I mean, to get the access token, you have to log in or authorize in your application. So let's say if you are giving access to your Salesforce org, and if your client want an access token for Salesforce org, then you have to log in. So we discussed in the flow earlier, uh, in the example of that banking application. So if you want access of your banking, then it was redirecting you to banking application, and you have to log in to get the access token. Similarly, if you want access to Salesforce, you have to log in Salesforce to get the access token. But it is not always good to log in again and again to get the access token. So we use refresh token to get the token access token every time you are trying to log in that org. So a refresh token has um, a long lifespan. It can last week, month, or even indefinitely, right? It only used to request a new access token, never sent with the regular API. We just use it to request an access token, right? We can store it securely in your application, and can use every time to get access token. Can be revoked instantly, cut off, and it can cut off all the future access, right? We can expire a refresh token by from the server only, and it will revoke all the future access related to that API, right? Why Salesforce use auth? So till now you have already understood why we use auth, right? So we don't want to store or share your username and password, then we use auth, right? There are multiple other ways, like if there is any multi-factor authentication, then you cannot use username and password every time to log in, right? So no password sharing, integration never need to store or see a Salesforce username and password. Granular and scoped access, right? Grant exactly the permission needed. So let's say if you only want to get the contact record from Salesforce, so the permission is only for the contact record, and it will be a read-only permission. So you just need the data, right? Revocable anytime. As and when you think that your application is getting compromised, you can revoke it directly using the connected app, right? So that is the another feature why we use auth, right? Without changing the username and password for the user. Built for multi-platform access, one identity can be used for multiple clients, right? So many client, mobile app, web integration, server job, all authorized independently with the same single identity. Industry standard OAuth 2.0 is the universal standard. Salesforce integrates seamlessly with any auth compliant system. It support enterprise security, work with MFA, IP restriction. IP restriction is very important, right? Even the session policies are. So we'll discuss in detail how you can use IP restriction in integrations, right? And connected app governance. Next is a simple auth flow. So you are now already aware what is a simple auth flow. App request and access, user redirected to login. So let's assume now your client is Java application, right? And your server is Salesforce. So now your Java application is requesting access to get the contact record from Salesforce. So they will request, user will be redirected to Salesforce to log in. They will put their username and password, user authenticate and approve. Then there will be an authorization code issued, right? And by using that authorization code, you can exchange the token. So that is a web server flow we'll discuss later on. And then by using that access token, you can make the API calls with the server, right? In plain English, an app says, I would like access. Salesforce says, prove who you are and tell me what to allow. You log in directly with Salesforce. The app never sees this. I mean, you are just putting your username and password directly in Salesforce, so your Java application won't be able to see your username and password. So your Salesforce will approve the requested permission, and Salesforce hands the app a short code that will call it app access token, right? The app quietly exchange that code, the authorization code, and the app quietly exchange that code for an access token and a refresh token behind the scene, right? And from the point on, every API call use the access token, right? Not your password. So that's the entire thing related to auth flow, right? So I am hoping like till now you have already understood what is an auth flow. So there are some interview related definitions I have put in here. So if somebody will ask you what is an auth 2.0, so you can simply say auth 2.0 is an industry standard authorization framework that allow a third party application to access a user resources on another device. So it can be your server, right? By exchanging credential for a scoped time limited access token without ever exposing the user password to the application. So you can simply mention it. There are some uh, other interview question. Is auth 2.0 authentication or authorization authentication is a separate concern, often via OpenID Connect alongside. We'll discuss OpenID Connect. What is the difference between access and refresh token? We have already discussed. Access token is short-lived, used on every API call. Refresh token is long-lived, used only to get a new access token, right? Name the four auth roles: resource owner, your user, client, your client server, authorization server, and your server resources, right? What does Salesforce use auth for? Why does Salesforce use auth for integration? So scalable, password-free access, secure by design for any external app or services, right? So these are the things that can be asked in your interview, right? So this is the recap. We discuss about OAuth 2.0 grants limited revocable access without sharing password, authentication equal to identity, authorization equal to permission, auth handles the later, right? Then four component: resource owner, client, authorization server, resource server. Access token are short-lived, refresh token renew them for longer term. Salesforce use auth for every secure integration, mobile app and connected app. So that's it for this session. I will try to record another session this week, and in that session you will understand about Salesforce connected app. We'll deep dive into connected app. What is a callback URL? What is a consumer key? What is a consumer secret? What all are the auth scopes we should use? And all these things. So we'll get mastery in connected app. So that's it. You know. About this session. So if you are liking this session, just subscribe my channel or let me know in the comment if you need video on any topic related to integration. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Thanks. Bye.